In this video, we'll go through the rider results, both how to find them and how to understand them. Once a biomechanics assessment is complete, the results will be available on the rider results page from the biomechanics menu. If you're first using the app as a new user, you'll see this message pop up as you don't have any results to show yet. You can go back or go straight to the live rider biomechanics screen to run your first assessment. If you've used the app before, but an older version, or if you've got a new phone, this no results message may still pop up. On the results page, you'll see two selectors. One to filter for the rider, and one for the assessment. By default, the rider filter is set to all, which will show results from all your registered riders. The list below it will show all of the biomechanics assessments on your account. If a result doesn't show, press the blue check for new results button. The result will be displayed as three parts: the reference you gave the assessment, the pace, and the rider's name. If you haven't specified the pace or the rider, they will appear as none. You can add or change these details using the turquoise Change Details button. Sometimes you may see a pop-up alert like this one. This means that someone has shared a result with you. You can either allow that person to share results with you by clicking the Allow button, or you can block them using the Block button. If you've made a mistake, you can always change the status of a contact from the main menu. Check out our videos on sharing results and adding contacts for more details. Once you've found the result you'd like to see in the list, you can choose from the following options. View that result. View the tracked video that goes along with it. You can share the results either directly or via email. We will cover this in a separate video. You could compare your select results directly with another one from your list. Or you can track your progress. Let's start with the individual result first. Depending on the angle that you filmed from, you'll either see a side-on or a back view stick figure representing the rider's average position throughout the video. If the rider was filmed on both reins and from the back or front in the video, the app will automatically split their position up into left side, right side, and back, front. You can switch through the views using the buttons directly underneath the stick figure to see the rider's position from all viewpoints. If you've only filmed from one view, if you've just filmed on the left rein, you'll only be able to see the left side view. If this is the case, there will be no buttons to change the view. The stick figure shows a representation of the average position of the rider throughout the whole assessment. It is color-coded. Green lines mean that specific part of the rider's body is in a good position. Yellow means it's in an okay position. And red means that the rider needs to improve that part of their position. Some parts of the position are shown in gray because there is no good or bad judgment to be made. For instance, the angle between the rider's hip and their knee will depend on factors such as their saddle, the size of their horse, as well as their own anatomy, i.e. how long their legs are. Underneath the figure is a table showing the actual angles of the key positional metrics as averaged over the whole assessment. The table also shows the target angles, or the target range, for each metric. Again, this table is color-coded. Like for the stick figure, some metrics are neither good or bad, such as the angle behind the rider's knee, so will be shown in gray rather than colored. If, for any reason, the app was unable to get a reliable measurement of part of a rider's body, such as their knee or heel position when filmed from the back, the metric will appear as gray with just a dash instead of a number. If the assessment has shown up any areas of a rider's position as amber or red, it will automatically show a short discussion about the issues highlighted. It will also give you a selection of exercises, both on and off horse, that may help you to improve your position. We'll talk in more detail about these exercises in another video. The app will initially show you only 3 exercises for each positional problem, taken at random from a longer list of all possible exercises that may help. If you want to see all the exercises, click the turquoise Show More button at the bottom of the screen. You can always collapse the list back down to the 3 results to make it easier to cope with. The list of exercises is being added to all the time, so you may want to click the blue "Check for new exercises" button to see if there are any new ones that haven't been added to your list. Note: if you aren't subscribed, you will not be able to see any of these suggestions. The full exercise list is available for both the basic and the pro subscriptions. Okay, so now we've described what it is you're seeing, but what does it mean? What makes a particular position good or bad? This is something we could talk and argue about for hours. If you click the purple "About the Results" button at the bottom of the screen, you'll be shown a section that goes into more detail about position and why it's important. This is something we'll be discussing more on our social media in much more detail, but for now here's a quick whistle-stop tour of what makes a position perfect. And by perfect, what we actually mean is a good, effective position for dressage. A good jumping position will be very different from a good dressage position. As I said, we can argue all day about this. Okay. If we consider the rider from the side, the app will measure the head position, the upper body position, the position of the upper arms and the hands, and then the lower leg. At the moment, it's not calibrated for tracking the foot position. Starting with the head, we want the rider to be looking straight in front of them. Not up. Not down. Straight ahead through their horse's ears. There should be a straight line from the ear to the shoulder. The elbows should be slightly in front of the body. The hands should be carried just in front of the saddle and slightly off the horse's neck. There would be good bend in the elbow with a straight line from the elbow to the wrist down the rein to the horse's mouth. The upper body should be upright, not tipping forwards or leaning back. There should be a straight line from the ear, though the shoulder to the hip and down to the heel. The lower leg should be directly under the hip, not too far forwards or backwards. From the back, the rider's head should be level, as should their shoulders and hips. The upper body should be straight, not leaning off to one side. The elbows, knees and ankles should all be level too. Sometimes the app struggles to see the ankles and knees, especially if filming a fairly round horse from the back. Okay, so that's a really quick rundown of what a good dressage position looks like. Going back to the main results menu. If you click on the Show Video option, you'll be able to watch the slowed down tracked video that shows the rider's position as a series of colored lines. As for the stick figure representations, green is good, amber is okay, and red needs improvement. While the stick figure showed the overall average position, here you can see the rider's position frame by frame, stride by stride. A word of reassurance when it comes to videos filmed from the side. No one's position is green all the time. In fact, a constantly green position would mean that you're not moving with your horse. There will always be instances in the canter when your body will be tipping too far forward or too far back. What matters is that it's an even movement. So you're going forwards as much as you're going back. So the average, as shown by the stick figure, will be green. Of course, you want the movements to come from your hips moving with the horse, and not from your shoulders rocking backwards and forwards. When filming from the back, you do want the rider's position to be green all the time. This means that the rider's shoulders and hips are level and they're not leaning off to one side. Sometimes, you may see the color of the line flickering. This is because there are ranges of good. It may be that the rider's position is just on the interval between two of these categories. While the average results are great for giving an overall view of the rider's position, the video can be really useful for looking at their movement patterns. We'll be showing more examples and going into this in more detail on our social media and blog. We're also working on training the app to identify these good and bad movement patterns, so stay tuned. Returning to the main results menu, let's take a look at the comparison tool. Here you can directly compare two results. The app will show two stick figure diagrams, each one representing the rider's average position in that video. Initially, the app will show the most appropriate view for that result, but you can force it to show the results from a specific view. Of course, if you've only filmed the left side, you'll get a message like this. The table of angles for each of the positional metrics is shown underneath the figures. You can use this comparison in lots of different ways. You can highlight the differences in a rider's position on the left rein versus the right. Most people have one rein that is better than the other. Similarly, our horses have a preferred rein and sometimes their asymmetries can cause differences in our position. It can be quite interesting to compare a rider's position as filmed from the back in rising trot with the horse on the left rein versus the right rein. This is an active area of research for us, so that we can give you more guidance on interpreting specific results and outcomes. So again, stay tuned. You can also show a rider the improvements they've made in a session. Or to give them reassurance that a new position is actually the correct one, even though it might feel weird. It can also be used to compare the effect of different bits of kit. While it can be quite difficult to scientifically prove the effect something does or doesn't have on us, a rough objective comparison is still useful. Scientific comparisons are something else we'll be discussing on our socials, so keep an eye out if that interests you. The final results option is the one to track different metrics across different videos. This is a useful tool to show riders trends in their position. For instance, someone who started off by tipping forwards, but who's been working on getting more upright, can often go too far the other way and start to lean too far back. With this tool, a rider can see when they hit their ideal metric. Or vice versa, they can see when they start to go in the wrong direction. You can filter results by rider and by pace. So that's an overall introduction to the rider biomechanics results provided by the app. There's more resources on our website and our social media, especially surrounding what makes a good riding position. As ever, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on social media or via email.